We'll be starting with the faculty representatives, then we'll be outline representatives, then the employee relations and All right, everyone, we're going to be starting, so please quiet down, sit down. The ISM chief is going to give the introductions. Okay, we will be beginning with the faculty representatives going up the order of the faculties. So first is applied sciences. There's only one microphone. Grab a seat.
Check.
Okay, great. We'll have Kian begin with your opening introduction.
Hi, my name is Kian Rasalhi. I'm running Student Next Applied Sciences Rep. I'm currently a fourth year computing science student and the current computing science president. I'm running for a number of issues. I want to focus a lot on the faculty itself, specifically making sure the new SEE students are able to get their own student society, making sure that the groups in Burnaby are able to have a space during the renovations that are coming up in the ASB, and advocating further for more spaces, lab spaces for Surrey students as always. Another big thing I want to run for is making sure we have some policies and...
And now Harry.
Hey everyone, my name is Harry and I'm going to be running for the next Applied Science representative. I want to target 4 core issues with my candidature, which is transparency through SFSS, having great communication with the FAS unions and clubs. Third, I want to also target people that have been neglected in the Applied Science Society. And as far as I'm concerned, I want to make the SFSS more progressive and get done with it. Thank you.
Thank you. Kian, you may ask your first question.
Okay. So Harry, you say you want to increase communication with the DSUs. However, I'm closely associated with computing science level president, and I work closely with engineering, SOCI, and MSc. What work have you done with the DSU so far?
And this will be 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Dia. It's not a really appropriate question asking about my experience in the FAS unions, and honestly, I don't have that much exposure to the FAS unions in general. But me, being a community advisor at residence, I have the ability to make events more successful in terms of the way I've done over the past 2 years at the residence. I want to target people who have been neglected by the Applied Science Society, people who feel that if they don't have any experience, they might not be able to go to the FAS unions. That's what I want to target. Although I don't have any experience, I'm going to be sure that I'm going to make 100% effort and do the same thing.
And since I'm currently computing science rep, I've had a lot of experience both holding large-scale events such as Garage for Applied Sciences and Silicon Valley trips. I think I'm uniquely experienced with all 4 DSUs of Applied Sciences to help them further themselves and reach new heights within the faculty. Thank you.
Thank you. May I ask you a first question?
So Kia, you were the FAS representative for the year 2018, yeah? So I want to target what work have you done as a FAS representative, because I was reading through your platform. So 4 core values that you have already said in right now, they were already in your platform back then as well. So I think you running again is a testimony to the fact that your changes what you did in SFSS has not been long-term in effect, and they've had fruitful results in the future. So I want to say that your period as a FAST representative was not productive in terms of the opportunity. Hence, you should. I want to ask. I'm sorry. I'm done.
I think you might have misunderstood something because my two main platform ideas were around SEE students and dealing with the ASB renovations, which weren't issues 2 years ago. So my platforms are new. And I handled a lot of things while I was applied science rep. I attended many meetings for all 4 DSUs, helped them greatly, provided advice, and held many events within the applied sciences faculty, such as the Frosh, like I mentioned. And I was also a strong voice within the actual SFSS and helped for more progressive actions. Thank you.
Given that you say that, I think Fast Farming not being organized in the year of 2018-2019 is also a testimony that your work as a FAST representative is incompetent. Thanks.
Okay, Kia, you may do your closing statement.
Like I said before, I used to be an applied sciences rep. I have a lot of experience. I also talked at the FAST World that was held in 2018 and 2019 as the applied sciences rep. So again, I think we're a little misinformed. And I think, again, I'm uniquely experienced both with the board and with the faculty to be able to help them achieve further things and also set aside some infrastructure for the existing DSUs and help a new at DSU come into fruition and achieve great things within the faculty. Thank you very much. Vote Kia for your next applied science rep. Have a great day, everyone.
So, as a conclusion, I would say that my experience does not match as Kia, that's true. But I bring in a different perspective from the residents. I bring in a different perspective from SF Research, which I have been involved as external relations coordinator. And I tend to target people from all applied sciences community. I want to make people believe that you don't need experience to participate in anything new. And that's why I'm standing here right now. And I want to challenge this mediocrity that the applied sciences have built, that people with no experience cannot move change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll be calling up the Arts and Social Sciences faculty representative candidates. Arts and Social Sciences, please. Thank you. Okay, now for our Arts and Social Sciences representative, whoever would like to begin, please give the introduction. 30 seconds, please.
My name is Sudi Guandik. My pronouns are she and hers. I'm running to be your next FAST rep. Why? More than 60% of students in SFU are in FAST. And if we really want to build the SFU spirit that we need, it will be sparked from FAST. And that's why we have to cultivate this SFU school spirit, starting with FAST, the largest community we have, through celebrating diversity and strengthening peer mentorship from day one, from welcome day. We need you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Inderpreet Gakko. I'm running to be your next SFSS Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences representative. I'm proud to say that I'm running for the largest and most diverse faculty. I'm running for this position to ensure the voices of all students are recognized by implementing positive transformations. Overall, my experiences in the academic field and working for a Crown corporation make me a strong candidate for this position. Thank you.
Thank you. So you can ask your question, please.
I wish I knew what you were standing for because I couldn't see your platform on the SFSS page and I couldn't really come up with any points, so I'm really interested to know what you're standing for.
So I'm standing for a few points. One of my major points is student engagement. In accordance to the IRP and undergraduate student survey in 2019, 66% respondents said they do not have opportunities to connect with peers, faculty, and staff outside the classroom. My goal is to increase student engagement by creating awareness regarding FAST mentorship, by connecting with first and second year students, career fairs with student unions, and effectively communicating with clubs and DSUs. Thank you.
Do you usually procrastinate, or why wasn't your platform uploaded on SFSS? Also, you talked about the DSUs. How are you going to be increasing the funds for the clubs? What are your plans?
My plans are to work with the events coordinator and to ensure that all clubs are effectively communicated with. My platform, I didn't see your platform either on SFSS, so I was wondering about that as well, and I would like to know what you were standing for as well, and if there's more insight about it.
All right, thank you. We will move on to your question interview.
What are some issues in FAST engagement that you plan on addressing, and how do you plan on doing it?
So one of the problems that we have is SAS. We need SAS involvement, and to ensure this, going to every single meeting, DSU meeting, and being transparent is really important. Just showing up, representing the people that you're standing for. That's vital, and making sure that SAS is actually doing their job, because the FAST reps from each DSU, some of the DSUs don't even have their FAST reps, so just ensuring that they're under control.
And how do you plan on increasing more transparency and accountability?
Well, just being connected to the students and to the board is really important, because that's how we're connected to everyone. And transparency, once you show up to the meetings and show that you're very involved and engaging, that's it.
How do you plan on engaging with students? I've conducted a survey for FAST students and seeing how many people are engaged in FAST clubs and overall how they can rate their university experience. And I plan on doing that throughout my social media and connecting with more students and encouraging them to speak to me as well by removing that barrier. How do you plan on doing that?
Thank you very much. That's actually all the time we have if you want to start the closing statements.
So I can answer the question.
Okay, 30 seconds.
So you were talking about how to engage the students, right? How to speak to them. I think what we lack is the aspiration and the passion. Some of the board members already have the experience, but if you look at their work reports, experience doesn't really matter, everyone. It's the passion we need. It's if you're standing for students, and if you know what you're doing, and if you're connected to them, and if you're willing to build this intercultural diversity, then that's what matters.
Okay, great. Thank you. We will start the closing statements.
I just want to thank you so much for everyone's time. I hope that my platform does resonate with you. It will be up shortly as well.
You heard what I'm standing for, and if your values align with mine, and if you actually think about the students and their rights and advocating for us, then you know who to vote for. We're going to build that SFU spirit from FAST. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just going to be reading out statement from Simran Sir. Yeah, she's unable to attend. So hello everyone, my name is and I'm running to be your next Arts and Social Sciences rep. I apologize for not being able to attend due to having class in Surrey. I wish the best of luck to everyone, and feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Check out my platform. It's time for a change, and it's time that students are attentively advocating for. My main goals are to focus on mental health awareness, increasing student engagement, and advocating for more study spaces. See you all around campus.
All right, thank you all. We will be bringing the business candidates up.
Oh, it is.
I don't know. Let's see.
All right, you may get your introduction.
Hello SFU, I'm extremely excited to be here today and to be running to be your business representative. Through my past experiences within BD and SFU at large, I have been able to see the many benefits of being a BD student, but I have also noticed many avenues for positive changes. If elected, I promise to use all the skills and knowledge that I have gained to work towards a more engaged, supported, and united community while prioritizing the following. Encourage inclusive involvement in student clubs, support students' mental health, better access to financial resources, access to academic resources.
Hi everyone, my name is Maytab Gill. I'm running to be your next business representative. With my active involvement in clubs across campus, I believe I'm the best fit for this role. What I bring to this role is a good understanding of the operations of the SFSS as well as BD clubs in Bass. This knowledge and experience will allow me to set my role effectively and efficiently. The goals I've listed in my platform are aimed at improving the working relationship between BD and the SFSS so that business students can have better access to the resources available to them.
Thank you. Next question.
So your platform talks a lot about access to resources for clubs and your active presence in clubs. However, what are you going to do to increase the involvement of transfer and third-year students in these clubs who have been inhibited in the past? Because just talking about what clubs can offer them is not going to actually get them to come out and be involved.
So my goals involve being that presence and the recognition for SFSS. So I want to be approachable so that students can approach me and I can give them the opportunities to get involved. So I want them to have a recognizable face within the SFSS that they can turn to answer any questions or give them any opportunities to get involved.
I totally get that, and it's great that you're going to have that active voice, but just being approachable and everything is not going to kind of make you noticeable at the same time. How are they going to know that you're approachable if they don't attend any of these clubs or events?
Okay, thank you. You may ask your question now.
All right. My question here is, what do you think the department needs to improve and why?
So I think that's something that the department definitely needs to improve is its access to academic resources. We do have our TAs and our office hours, but at the same time, I think that students can really benefit from workshops and extra maybe tutorial sessions like what we might have experienced in Math 157, so that we can build on our skills, even for things like coding or accounting, finance, all of these kind of things.
And how there's in the platforms, like how do you do this, right? It's not about just saying it, it's actually about action and how we can accomplish this.
Thank you. You may now read your closing statements.
I strongly believe that all students should be given the opportunity to create endless possibilities for themselves, and I really want to assist them in reaching these goals. I understand that there is still a lot that I do have to learn, and I'm extremely excited to challenge myself within this process. If you would like to get to know a little bit more about me, please read my platform. I have mentioned there how I plan on accomplishing each of these goals, and it would be an honor to represent our faculty. I hope you vote for me.
I thank thank you all for being here and listening to our priorities. To recap, I want to focus on being an active presence at BD events so that I can become a recognizable representative of the SFSS in the community. The disconnect between SFSS and business clubs is evident, and I plan to initiate new communication channels so that students have better access to resources and support services. Thank you so much, and you can check my platform on my ability. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? Yes? Okay. Next we'll be inviting the Communications, Arts, and Technology representative candidates.
Can we start?
Yes, you can begin with the introduction.
Excellent. My name is Owen Ahmed. I'm a fourth-year communication student. I realized our faculty wasn't equal. I realized we didn't get the same networking events, the same mentors, the same graduation portals, or the same campus recruiters as other faculties. I grew frustrated. Instead of waiting for the change, I've decided to become the change. I'm going to ensure that students can develop their careers without having to solely rely on the co-op program, since that isn't for everyone. I'm going to organize more networking events, skill building workshops, and much more for the faculty.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Haider Masood, and I'm running to be your next FCAT rep. The communication and connection between FCAT departmental student unions, FCAT student, and the SFSS are very dismal. Therefore, I want to ensure that there is an improvement in this problem of lack of communication and connection. I've had a meeting with IS Student Union, Communication Student Union, and I have another meeting with Dance Student Union this coming week. I've been doing this because I'm proactive about this, and that's why I'm running. And lastly, I'd like to mention that I'm happy to have Fiona's endorsement, who is the current FCAT rep. Thank you.
Aman, you may ask a question.
Heather, you mentioned in your platform that you'd like to increase funding for the student unions. Currently, they're funded in this way. When you take a course, a percentage of that fees goes to the SFSS, they then give it to the student unions. My question is, how do you plan on increasing funding for these clubs, for these unions, without either A, increasing tuition itself, or B, increasing the amount of students who come into this course, making it harder for SFU, FCAT students to get in?
So basically, there are two ways that we can increase this funding for departmental student union. One way is that we could shift money from grants to core funding so students can have more say over their own spending. And another way is that we would be able to allocate money from historically underused budget line items and reallocate the budget.
So your first point, just to clarify, you want to move away funding from grants to fund the student unions?
By doing this, we're basically giving power to the students so they have more option and flexibility on the say like how they want to use the money, which includes the departmental student unions.
Okay, thank you. You may ask a question, please.
So you outline in your platform to become the voice of students, yet you go on to plagiarize word to word from last year's candidate, act as a liaison between SFSS and Faculty of Education, when you're actually running for Faculty of Communication, Arts and Technology. So my question is, what are your thoughts on dishonesty and plagiarism as an elected student?
Well, I think as a communication student, I can tell you plagiarism is very bad. I do not endorse it at all. Dare I say I condone people who plagiarize.
How can students trust a candidate that does not even put in work to create his own platform for this FCAT?
Because, young man, my platform is about getting networking events, getting more opportunities for students to develop their degrees. Everything else is a plus.
Thank you.
we will now start the closing statements.
So I'll close this debate by concluding my platform, which says basically I'm committed towards increasing the financial flexibility of FCAT department student unions. Furthermore, I'll be working towards making SFSS more accessible by advocating for voting rights, full membership rights, and advocating for Transtech U-Pass for FIC students who pay the fees but yet get no rights for these. I'll be advocating for more student spaces by pushing to renovate more common spaces. And lastly, I'm passionate for pushing a 2-year tuition fees for both domestic and international students. Thank you.
You've seen our points, you've read our platforms, hopefully. I'd just like to close by saying advocacy is not the same as action. I plan on taking action.
Thank you. So next is the education faculty. Neither of the candidates were able to attend today, but we have statements to read on with their behalves. So I am going to start with Tagwa Ali. My name is Tagwa Ali, and I am running to be the SFSS education representative. I'm sorry I couldn't make it today due to school commitments, but I'm excited to share that I'm running to be the SFSS education representative to increase engagement and opportunities for education students and bring positive change to the student body at SFU. Most students within the Faculty of Education are aspiring teachers, and I believe there should be more services in place to support students applying to PDP. I know from experience that the application process is very stressful, and if elected, I plan to organize more information nights and resources to help education students transition into the professional development program, as well as coordinating with SFU and external partners to increase more volunteer and co-op opportunities for aspiring teachers. I'm committed to advocating for what is right, and this is a part of what inspired me to run for education representative. I want to use my position in the board of directors to advocate and fight for marginalized groups and communities on campus. This includes fighting for lower tuition and more open education resources across SFU, and rebuilding the relationship with rotunda groups and supporting other marginalized groups at SFU. If you want to learn more about me and my platform, feel free to reach out via social media at Takwa4EduRep or email me at tali@sfu.ca. Thank you.
All right, so the next one is Emily Liu. Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, all. Thank you for taking the time to come out and make an informed decision. Due to a class conflict, I am unable to attend the debate. However, I welcome any questions that you may have about my qualifications or platform points. You can contact me at emilyl@sfu.ca or on Facebook. You can find my full platform at bit.ly/voteemilyliu. If anyone wants to grab those details, we have that in writing, so you can just come up to us after the debate.
All right, and the next faculty will be environment. For this faculty, we only have one candidate running, so we will actually be opening up 2 audience questions, time permitting. So if anybody has a question, just please come up here. Yes, please begin with your opening statement.
Hi, my name is Anuki. My pronouns are she, hers. I'm running because I want to increase awareness about climate justice, create better communication within my faculty, and advocate for marginalized students and communities.
Would anybody like to ask a question? Okay, in that case, we'll prepare a question for you in 1 second.
Okay, so the question we have is, in your platform you say you want to support large-scale events like the kickoff to be planned well in advance so that no losses no longer happens. How do you plan to accomplish this?
I plan on working with the board, getting advice from them, and like maybe past communities or like people who have worked with the kickoff, and I think just by like planning it well in advance, we can like prevent a lot of issues from happening. So just by planning it in advance with those people.
Okay, thank you.
past board members who have been advocating for tuition freeze. I have been involved with the movement before, so continuing to work with them and getting advice from them.
Okay, sounds great. You may proceed to your closing statement.
Thank you for the questions. I hope that I can work well with the board and convince them to advocate for marginalized students, as well as take in climate justice into account when making sustainability decisions.
Thank you, Vicky. Next, we have the health sciences candidates. So one candidate was unable to attend today and will be reading out a statement on their behalf. So this is for Rupan Garcha. Hi everyone, I was unable to attend today because I have a midterm exam at this time. However, the reason I am running to be your next health sciences representative is to enhance student experience, promote health and well-being, advocate for student affordability, and provide reassuring support to all students. I believe I have the experience to be on board due to my involvement with HSUSU and FHS. I encourage all voters to make a wise decision after reading each candidate's platform. My platform is available online and you can reach me on my email, rupang@sfu.ca. If you have any questions or concerns, I hope to have your support in this election and always remember your voice matters. Now we will be doing the introduction for Julia.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daria Elric, and I'm running for the Health Science Representative. I'm really excited to be here. I'd like to start by highlighting some experience that I have that I think will lend well to this position. For the past 2 years, I've been the president of Phi Delta Epsilon Pre-Medical Fraternity, which has allowed me to work closely with the SFSS. I've run multiple large-scale events, and I've also worked with the SFSS in terms of clubs, so I've seen what does and doesn't work for clubs. And in terms of health sciences, I've also worked closely with health programming, so I know what's relevant to health science students. I think that these would make me a great candidate for this position, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. If anyone from the audience has any questions, you may come up right now. In the meantime, the IC is going to ask a question.
In your platform, you say you would like to support the holistic health of students. You plan to educate members on the resources available to them. How do you plan on doing that, and what resources are you planning on making more available?
Sure. So I'll answer the resources question first, because I think those are two separate kind of pillars of my platform. The resources is things like bylaws, constitution, club policies, these kind of things that allow students to be able to participate effectively in their student government. I don't find that these are accessible materials at the current time, so I'd like to work with the board to make sure that we have those available for all students so that they know best how to support themselves, and then which also allows us to best support them. In terms of holistic health for students, it's a general mandate, but I also have in my platform that I would like to plan for wellness days. So very similar to something that Jesusu does right now. They run kind of events that are in line with stressful times. So they have study nights around midterms. So I'd like to take that and kind of evolve it into a year-long initiative where, depending on the time of the year and what stressors students may face, we would have relevant tabling and activities and events to provide students with resources.
Okay, thank you. And I believe we have an audience question. Gio, you're fine. Maybe not.
Oh, sure.
Okay, you may do your closing statement, please.
So again, my name is Daria Elric. Thank you for coming out to support student politics. I would like to point out, being on the board is obviously a big commitment, and it's about showing up. And I did show up today compared to some of my other candidates who are running, and I think that says a lot. Please check out my Facebook page and my online platform, which are both on the SFSS website. And please stop me if you see me in the hallway, or if you want to reach out on Facebook, email. I would love to talk to you, and I'm happy to have any conversation about the SFSS or otherwise. I'm quite friendly, so please talk to me.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will invite up the science candidates.
Let's go, Boris! Woo!
opening statement.
Hi, my name is Wei Chen. I go by pronouncing he, him, his. I'm writing to be a science representative. I'm heavily involved in on-campus climate activism, particularly climate and social justice. I'm an active member of SFU 350 and a co-founder of subgroup Justice No Pipeline that aims to advocate for student safety, indigenous sovereignty, and regarding Trans-Mountain Pipeline expansion. I want to advocate for more common room space for DSUs, a better grant system, and how to center climate justice and activism in the work we do as a student union through my position as science rep.
Hello everyone, my name is Boris Perdia and I am super excited to be running as the science representative for the board this year. Over the last 3 semesters, I've had the wonderful opportunity of working on the Science Undergraduate Society, and I feel like it's made me confident enough that I will be able to connect with the DSUs around campus, and also I feel like I can plan for a better way to communicate between the SFSS and the student body. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Avi Vashisht, and I'm in biomedical physiology, and I plan on increasing engagement within the science faculty.
Rachel, you may ask your question.
This is a question for Boris. So on your second platform point, you talked about supporting the advocacy office that just passed, and you want to address student needs and concerns. My question is, what sort of advocacy work have you done on campus?
Definitely. So you were talking about, sorry, wait, just to confirm. The second point was about the communication barrier. Yeah, so basically, the reason why, so I don't actually have a history of advocacy here at SFU. However, my point was that I want communication between the SFSS and the student body to be clear, and that's why we need the Student Advocacy Office. By making it pass through, I aim to be a liaison between the student body and the SFSS, just to make it succeed.
That sounds good, but however, I think student advocacy should include an intersectional lens and a wider range of issues, and my heavy involvement in activism and advocacy on campus show that I am more qualified to assist the advocacy office and do work on campus.
Thank you. Boris, you may ask a question.
All right, Wei Chen, I have a very quick question for you. So you mentioned that you were seeking long-term DSU common space and as well more student lounges on one of your online platforms. And I just want to ask, how will the faculty find that space? And do you plan on only helping DSUs who already have space, or are you also looking to find space for DSUs and the Science Undergraduate Society who currently does not have any space?
Yeah, so over the past week, I've been meeting with all the DSUs and we're talking with them about long-term space and looking for common rooms for them to have space in. I see the lack of space, especially during MPB and chemistry sharing the same lounge, and the SAS not having their own space. I see that there's a need to have a good space for them to actually communicate with their members and have a good space for them to engage their members.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Boris, I have a question for you. So what will you do different for science students that you were able to achieve while you were with your time at SUS?
So basically my entire goal for joining SUS was to kind of boost the engagement around campus, and I think that's exactly what I plan to do with the SFSS. So it'll further allow me to connect with the DSUs and also basically just the faculty in general. Overall, I don't think my plan is any different. That is just my overall goal, which is engagement, and on top of that, I can look into like the safety of students as well, just as a side kind of thing.
You have 30 seconds for rebuttal.
How do you plan on increasing engagement?
So basically for our SUS events, we just hosted our Frosh one, and unfortunately one of the departments actually wasn't able to commit with their Frosh event, so we were totally like down to invite them over. So I've realized from that it's great to connect between the departments, and it's a way to kind of like break the barrier between all the faculties. So that's something I aim to do.
All right, thank you very much. We'll now do the closing statements.
Hi I believe that we deserve a student society that's willing to stand up and advocate for all students, including indigenous and minority communities, even with the most difficult and inconvenient. As a science representative, I want to push for more climate actions as we are in a climate emergency, and the IPCC report written by scientists has said that we have less than 10 years to act to prevent a climate catastrophe. I believe my heavy involvement through SFU 50 and the connection to SFU's Assembly Office and Embark and the faculty members at SFU makes me qualified to do that.
All right, thank you everyone for coming out here firstly and listening to all of our platforms. This year I am thrilled to be running as your science representative, and to summarize my platform most briefly, I know that the experiences I've earned in my previous years will help me work with DSUs to engage the community like previous years haven't. Furthermore, I will lead to better communication between the SFSS and student body. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out, and I stand to increase engagement with the Science Society and build on what the previous science rep already has. And I want to promote interdepartmental events and improve collaboration between existing DSCs.
All right, thank you. That concludes all the faculty representatives. We'll now be moving on to the at-large representatives.
Hey guys, okay, my name is Harlene Sierra, and I'm currently a second-year student, and I'm studying behavioral neuroscience. So my main three things I'm trying to work on if I am elected are transparency, so involving our community more in terms of interacting with students, and mental health initiatives was my other point, which would bring us to two subsections, which would be how to identify mental health issues and how to treat them. And yeah, that's it for now. Thank you.
Firstly, I want to acknowledge that I'm sitting on the traditional territory of Coast Salish people. My name is Faiz Bandeli. I'm running to be your next at-large rep. Given the chance, I plan to set a unique system for current students to apply for scholarships. Of course, academics play a great role in deciding a student's merit level. However, I plan to advocate for a system that takes in consideration the student's merit, extracurriculars, to judge the scholarships. Moreover, I plan to lobby SFU to set up better infrastructure to deal with annual snowy days. I propose the idea of a shuttle service in production way to SFU that can take students periodically on a first-come basis. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I want to start off by thanking you all for being here today. My name is Arnaz and I'm a third-year international student studying business and communications. Throughout my 3-year-long SFU journey, I've attempted to be involved with various SFU initiatives. I've served as VP Communications with SFU RHA, as well as I'm still a team lead at SFU Advancement and Alumni Engagement, where I work towards raising awareness and funds for scholarships and bursaries, as well as mental health. I'm running because I want to focus on 3 specific things. First and foremost, the increase of scholarships and bursaries for all students at SFU. Second, to increase, okay, thank you. Hello everybody, I'm Gitanjali Sharma and I am a second-year student here at the BD School of Business. I am running to be your next at-large representative to create and build a sense of community amongst everybody at SFU. While at SFU, I've been involved in various clubs such as KSIT and the Business Administrative Student Society, in which I still serve as a corporate relations coordinator. My platform will be to create a connected campus and create change regarding issues that the students have with the SFSS. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Balkis Jama, and I'm running to be your at-large representative. I'm running because I will continue pushing our student society to prioritize advocacy over convenience. Thanks to students coming together, we see initiatives like the gondola actually happening. We see that the rotunda groups are being granted space in the sub. Students have strength in numbers. And it's time for the SFSS to get involved in a major scale in empowering student activism on this campus, and that is what I will advocate for on the board.
Hi everyone, my name is Poom. Club execs have known for a long time that the system for making an event is broken. Small club grants are being denied, grant deadlines are too early, room booking requests are being denied, and we're eating horrible, disgusting SFU catering pizza. That is the real enemy. I think it's time to take action. As an executive for clubs, I believe that I am the best person to push to make this change happen. Let's do it.
Carly, you may ask your first question.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, is it who? Is that right? Okay. Just a quick question for you. So I know that you are the treasurer of one of the clubs here, and how do you manage to help on that side in terms of being active in one club and being active in this as well at the same time?
And it'll be 30 seconds for an answer, please.
I plan to step down as an exec from most of my positions. I will still try to make meetings whenever possible to get the voice of students, but I believe that the board takes priority over my current positions.
30 seconds for your final.
I just want to say thank you for answering.
I have a question to Gitanjali. So you mentioned on your platform that you plan on making minority clubs feel more inclusive. So what measures do you plan on taking for them to feel that way?
30 seconds.
I'll be taking multiple measures into consideration, but my main consideration is I want to work with them personally to actually understand what their issues are and create solutions. And also we do have budgets for advocacy, and I think that that's what the minority groups need. And maybe during my, if elected, my goal will be to actually create advocacy grants in which the students can receive that payment so they can push maybe further lobbying and actually create the change that they want to create at SFU. Thank you so much.
Thank you for answering.
My question is for who? So some clubs are meant to cater to a smaller number of people, and increase in budgets doesn't necessarily translate to like an increase in participation. So my question for you is, where do you plan on getting increased funding for these clubs, and how do you plan on allotting them based on like the different sizes of the clubs?
The SFSS has a lot of money in the bank. Famously, we have 2.4 million, if I believe that is correct. In terms of smaller clubs, I believe there should be a base limit for core funding. So maybe if a club has 15 members, which is the minimum, say like $100 of funding, just to get the bare necessities out of the way, and as membership increases, clubs will be able to get more funding.
Thank you for answering.
My name is Balkis, and I was just wondering how you plan to, I guess, push for student advocacy and basically like increase student engagement as well.
So there is a lot of organizing happening on campus already. I think the role of the student society is to empower the students already on the ground doing the work. It's not so much, we see a lot of events happening, and that is great, it's a part of engagement, but we really need to be consulting, empowering students, dedicating resources for the students to do advocacy work. We have a lot of stuff like the pipeline advocacy and SB 350. We have a lot going on already. The goal is to just empower by using the SFSS's resources.
Thank you.
I was going to say thank you so much for answering, and I honestly do agree with a lot of your points, but I do believe there's also a thin line between how much money we can allocate to things like advocacy and student activism, and on the other hand, what we have to do to support students as well. So I think it's something that we'd have to find out in managing the budget, actually creating a factual budget to create that for sure.
All right, my question is to you now. So I love that you highlight zero waste in your platform and that you want to push for sustainable practices on campus. As a board member, how will you advocate for the SFSS's role in systemically tackling climate justice?
Thank you. Thank you for the anytime or sorry. I want to make sure you're good. Perfect. Thank you so much for the question. With the new sub building opening, I think it gives us an excellent opportunity to actually create change because it's somewhere where there's already no implementation of things like plastic straws. We haven't implemented how we're going to be creating actual like cups, like what waste will be coming out of the sub. And I think a great way that we can start tackling this is by actually creating like a zero waste sub, or maybe only having things that are biodegradable within the sub, and then slowly implementing that across campus if that succeeds.
You can rebuttal 30 seconds if you'd like. Yeah.
So I love this. I love that you're proactively thinking about the sub and how it will be operating in terms of sustainability practices. When it comes to things like straws, honestly, it makes up 0.03% of pollution in the world. So I think it's so important that we do systemically tackle things like pressure SFU to divest from fossil fuels, pressure against the Trans Mountain Pipeline, stand in solidarity and fight for climate justice and human rights as well, right? So SFSS has a lot of resources that could be used.
Thank you.
There's a question for Arnaz. You said in your platform that you will advocate for increased transparency. Through policy, how exactly will you push the SFSS board to do that?
So obviously the SFSS works as a team. It isn't a one-man job to increase transparency. It has a lot to do with policy and the functioning of the club as a whole. One, communication between the team has to be top-notch to be able to cater to the students in the right manner. And two, I believe a lot of the policies are changing and will continue to change. I know that there have been talks, and I believe that if we are part of the student representative society, we should be advocating for changes that will help increase transparency.
Would you like to rebuttal?
I didn't see any concrete, sort of objective, clear goal. But thank you for answering.
Thank you. We will now do the closing statements.
Okay, I just want to thank you all for coming out today. I really appreciate it. I just want to recap my 3 goals again. 1 was transparency, 2, mental health, and my other one was campus health, or campus life, sorry. So if you do elect me, I will work my hardest on those 3 things, and I will definitely try to make a difference here. Thank you.
To recap, I would like to advocate for a cap in international tuition fees and increased safety and security across campus, and increased bursaries and scholarship funding for international and domestic students both. You have heard my points and hopefully read my platform. I hope you make the right decision. Thank you so much for coming today.
Just to go over the 3 things that I wanted to focus on: increased scholarships and bursaries, increased transparency between SFSS and clubs, and lastly, to advocate for more student spaces and facilities in the student union building. If you choose to have faith in me, I promise to use my leadership skills and my communication skills and a lot of dedication to make change happen. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to hear me out, and I want to congratulate everyone that's running. I just want to thank everybody for being here today. My 3 main platform points again are awareness against sexual harassment and discrimination, also sustainability, and creating a commuter school, creating a view that SFU is not a commuter school. Thank you again for being here, and I hope to see you between the 17th and the 19th on SFU Mail.
It is the SFSS's role to eliminate barriers to getting involved on this campus. And I really think it was time we shift the lens of the society towards student advocacy and empower students on campus. We can't separate advocacy from the SFSS. The student population is so diverse, and I will fight on the board for the SFSS to cater to everyone's unique needs of this diverse population we have at the school. So whether elected or not, I will continue fighting on behalf of students. Thank you.
I care about student groups. Student groups are my life. Clubs and DSUs are the reason why I go to school. As a member of multiple groups, I've seen the warmth that exists on this campus. I believe that it's only through less restrictive policies surrounding clubs and DSUs that we will be able to share this warmth with the rest of the SFU community. Thank you.
Alright, thank you to all the at-large representatives. The final candidate was not able to attend, but will have a statement on their behalf.
So this is Carmen Shergill. Hello everyone. Unfortunately, I cannot attend this debate as I had a last-minute family emergency. I do encourage everyone to read my platform, which can be found at bit.ly/vote Carmen Shergill. If elected for this position, I will be advocating for further mental health support with the active listener program, develop better communication between SFSS and clubs, and lastly, raise awareness on issues regarding sexual violence. For any questions or concerns, feel free to contact me through my email at hss28@sfu.ca or contact me through my social media platform. I hope to have your support on March 17th.
Thank you. You may take your seat. We're now going to be moving on to the executive positions. It'll be a similar structure, except you'll have a little bit extra time for audience questions at the end of each position. So if you have a question for the candidates, feel free to come over to this area and we will hand you the microphone. Thank you. So the first position we'll be inviting is the VP External Relations. I'm going to begin with a statement from a candidate who could not attend. So this is on behalf of Simran Upal. Hello everyone. Unfortunately, I cannot attend this debate as this time conflicts with my midterm exam. However, I do encourage everyone to read my platform, which can be found on bit.ly/Simran4External. If elected for this position, I will be advocating for international student support and tuition regulation, Surrey Langley SkyTrain, Burnaby Mountain Tank Farm Safety Plan, and National Housing Strategy. For any questions or concerns, feel free to email or message me through social media platforms. Thank you for attending the debate. I hope to have your support on March 17th. And now to Samad, you may read your introduction.
Hello everyone, my name is Samad Raza and I'm running for VP External Relations. With the recent hikes in tuition fees and full-time students working part-time can no longer afford education. We also saw unfair increase in medical service fees for international students, which exposed them to financial pressure. Currently, I'm involved in resolving this MSP issue with the help of BC Health Coalition, and as a VP External Relations, I would lobby government for more educational funds so that all the students can be relieved of financial pressure.
So we will be starting with a couple IEC questions.
All right, so we have a few IEC questions. In the meantime, if any audience members have a question, please come up to the table. So the first one I have is, in your platform, you discuss lobbying with federal and provincial governments to reduce or eliminate MSP for international students. How do you plan on doing that?
Alright, so most people don't know this, but government actually changed the MSP by replace MSP with EHT, which is Employer Health Tax, which is employed on all the employers in BC, and whoever's their employers have to pay 1.9% annually if they have more than 500,000 in payroll. So they are expected to make 1.9 billion in revenue by the end of 2020. And now at the same time, they double the MSP for international students. So my argument when I went in to meet BC Health Coalition, argument was that like it is unfair situation because 47% of international students do not have financial standing. They don't have like some kind of extraordinary financial standing. They are working part-time. They are even doing like under-the-table jobs. So our argument was that the government should remove it or revert it back to the original $37.50. And BC Health Coalition agreed to next month bring in all the concerned party and write an open letter to government and also talk to the Ministry of Education regarding the international student issue.
All right, so we have one more question. So on top of reducing MSE, as you said, it's a different acronym for international students, you also plan on lobbying for international student tuition to be capped and increase open resources for education and much more. Do you think this is feasible and why?
Okay, so in 2017 alone, international students brought in 4.15 billion in spending to BC government, right here. Okay, and for that 217 was like tax revenue for government. So I'm saying right here that 2% cap is not going to hurt anyone, to be honest. It's also going to relieve the financial pressure of students. Last year, SFU increased 20% of BD school fees, right? That puts all the students who are in FIC right now and transferring next year in greater risk because 1100 for one credit, BD one credit, that's not fair for international students. The 2% cap just to make it fair.
Thank you. Do we have any audience questions for this candidate? No? Okay, great. Then I will need you to read your closing statement.
No one has any questions? No, I have documents prepared. But like, okay, so first of all, I'm seeing no one is like asking any question, but I have like a lot of documents prepared to like tackle all my platform issues. So if you have any questions in there, just contact me and I'll go over with it. Okay? So now I'm just gonna do a closing statement. Okay, so I believe education is basic human right and should be free for everybody, right? Right now we are seeing such unfair increases in tuition fees and education is becoming unaffordable for everybody, local and international students. So I want to lobby government for more funding for our students. Make education free and accessible for everybody. So we're going to start with connecting education funding with GDP. Right now government is only giving 0.5% of their BC GDP, which is like around $239 billion.
Sure.
Okay, so if I become VP External, I'll lobby for those funds and make education affordable. So if I'm standing for you and I'm standing with you guys, so please vote.
All right, next we will welcome the VP Finance candidates, please. And if you have any questions from the audience for VP Finance, please don't be, please. VP Finance candidates.
It's just me.
All right, you may begin.
Hi everyone, my name is Corbett Gillersleeve. I am running for VP Finance candidate. I served on the board of directors in 2015 as applied science representative. I am back now running again. I'm running because I think the SFS has been on the wrong path for a very long time. My board in 2015 made some significant changes to the governance, to financials, and I have been lucky or unlucky to be able to see the results of this. And I think that where we're at now is not helpful to students. We spend almost now a third of our budget on just administration costs, which is more than how much we spend on grants and core funding for student unions for the entire year. We've had the concert this year lost $106,000, which is again a record-shattering deficit. It's just I couldn't sit back anymore, and I want to run again. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Audience questions, please come up now. In the meantime, we'll ask a couple of questions from the IEC.
Hi, Liam.
So the current board, as far as I know, has not been particularly willing to conduct any investigation into the deficit over the fall kickoff. If elected, would you do anything? Would there be any point to doing anything at that point?
So I've been pushing on and off since November to have this investigated. From what I understand, I went to a kind of a council board meeting with the auditor to give a presentation. It seems like that there might be what's called like an internal investigation or internal audit that might occur. It depends. That's still up to the board to decide, where they'll look at policies, look at the process, make suggestions on how to prevent this in the future. I'm hoping that goes through and that happens, and that the next board will have a report to act on. If it doesn't, then I will still push for it, because you can't lose this amount of money and just say that's it. Like, lessons learned.
Thank you. Our next question will be from the IEC. Never mind.
Can you still hear me?
Oh, it's right here. Okay. It was shocking to me to hear from your platform that SFSS is sitting on over $2 million just sitting there. And it's not money being used towards students. As a nonprofit, I think SFSS needs to do something with that money. Why do you think there's so much surplus? And what do you think should be used for?
Thank you for the question. So yes, according to the audits last year, the SFS has banked up about $2.4 million in unrestricted surplus, which means, as far as I understand it, they can use it for almost anything. I believe a good chunk of that could be used for an upcoming investment policy to help the private base, so that when we can generate interest, and so that we don't have to, so we can use that to subsidize future programs. But again, it's all up to the board, this current board, if they'll pass it or not, and the next board to continue it. Other areas it can be spent on, because it's savings, if you use it all up, you just go on a spending spree, it'll get used, and then they'll have to replace it. But I think you could use it for pilot projects, trying new initiatives to see if they can work, and then see if we can afford it as within the regular operating funds. But yeah, there's lots of opportunity here. We're not hard up for cash anymore, like we were 5 or 6 years ago.
Thank you. You may now come to the closing statement, please.
No IC? No IC questions?
No.
Okay. Hi, everyone, again. So, yes, as I said, I'm running for VP Finance. I hope everyone can hear me over this. I want to work on reducing administrative costs. I want to shift that a lot. I want to shift the SFS's priorities to be more towards advocacy focused, because we're not going to fix things by having fun concerts. No one's going to lower our tuition because, you know, we help out with puppy therapy. Like, we need to be pushing the government. We need to be pushing SFU to make significant changes that benefit students, because because what we're doing now is just we're focused on a lot of events. We do some services, but we're not growing, we're not changing, we're not improving, and things haven't gotten better for students, I don't think, in my opinion. And I've been here for almost 10 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We are now going to invite the VP student candidates to the stage, please. And just before we start, I have a statement Jovi Bassi, who was unable to attend for the VP Finance position. So this is on his behalf. I will not be able to attend because of a family-related emergency, but I would still like to encourage the audience to take a look at my platform. I stand for affordable education, increasing resources for clubs, and increasing student engagement. Once again, thank you for being informed voters and representing the SFU student body. And we also have a statement for the same position from Sahil Nathani. Hello SFU, my name is Sahil Nathani and I am running to be your next VP Finance. With my past experience in accounting and finance, I have developed a strong skill set within this field. During my time at SFU, I have come to realize the lack of good financial management in the SFSS, which has greatly impacted our university and its students. Therefore, I have decided to run for this position in order to do what I do best, dealing with numbers. I strongly believe that it is time we prioritize our financial processes, and thus if elected, I promise to use all the skills and knowledge I have learned in order to prioritize the following. Greater transparency between the SFSS and the students, conduct an internal audit for the $105,000 the fall kickoff deficit, better allocation and a general increase in funding for clubs and DSUs, increase funding for student-related services, improve human capital and the future board by initiating programs for training potential candidates. Many students and clubs across campus have been denied opportunities or have been forced to put their plans on hold due to the lack of financial support from the SFSS. I hope that you elect me to represent your voices within the board, as I want to work with the students for the students. After all, it's the students' money. You can reach out to me via social media platforms or in person for any questions you might have. Thank you for your time. All right, Rachel, you may.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel D. I'm running to be your next Vice President Student Life. I'm in my third year at the BD School of Business and I have worked at the SFSS as a member service administrative assistant for over 1 year, meaning I've supported clubs and student unions over that time, understood all of the booking processes, the internal processes, and administrative procedures for that time. I've also been involved in BAS, KSIT, HRSA, and Launch in BD, and have worked with events with funding over $40,000, events with stakeholders and attendees of over 300, and event volunteers. Today I'm running to be your next Vice President and believe I am very qualified and will give you a great year.
Everybody hear me? Louder? Hello all, my name is Jonathan Pearl Gort and I'm running for VP Student Life. I'd first like to say that I completely respect all the candidates that I'm running against, as well as those that are not running against me. Having said that, I'm confident that my values are going to bring a great positive impact upon the student body and wish everyone else good luck. Now, throughout my 2 years here at SFU, I've always acknowledged that the majority of the students are simply not happy with their social lives at school. When I get elected for the position, my main priority will be to create a strong sense of community amongst all students here at Simon Fraser University. Thank you.
Can everyone hear me? I know you all code, so I'll try to make this fast. I see you all huddled over there. I'm going to try to warm you up with my passion for student advocacy and engagement. So, my name is Jennifer Joe, and well, you can call me Meme Queen in the hallways. I'm the current SFSS Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences representative, the SFU Knitting Club president, and a former co-op student at SFU Health and Counseling. I'm running to be your next VP Student Life to continue advocating for and hosting more accessible events and mental health initiatives at SFU, continuing my current work with the SFSS. Okay, I'd like to start off with a question for Jennifer. So given your ongoing project and the creation of the mental health care packages, we've seen that they're only being given to a small number of students on campus. They use a lot of resources and also they don't solve the key problem to mental health. They're just a short-term solution. How do you respond to that criticism? Everyone hear me? Okay.
Okay, so actually that's been something I've been working on. So with each iteration of the care packages, I've been trying to make it more inclusive, more sustainable, and more useful long term. For example, I've been collaborating with SFU Health and Counseling to create these kind of handouts, and then they say take care. They're really cute. And it says like how to take care of your own well-being as well as how to take care of others' well-being. And those strategies in the pamphlets are useful for students who take them and use the tips in them for the long term. And all of my reports on the care packages can be found online. I'm also hoping to continue my collaboration with SFU Health and Counseling to promote their drop-in programs like yoga, meditation, and their mental health workshops such as a sip of care.
Damn right, trust the process!
You can rebuttal people.
All sound really great, very cute. However, I still do not believe that it's the long-term solution to the problem, and it's not a lot of the SFSS resources. Personally, I've never received a mental health care package, so hopefully in the future we're able to reach a larger number of students through different initiatives in that way.
Thank you.
My question goes to Jennifer over here. So, from your platform, from what I understand, it revolves a lot around mental health. My question for you is, there's already, I believe from as far as I'm aware, the majority of students here at SFU are not content with the way their social lives are playing out. What exactly are you going to do to help the majority of the school? I believe you're focusing on minorities in the school, but what exactly are you going to do for the majority?
Thanks for the great question. I believe that through my events that I've hosted, with my experience in like SFU Knitting Club as well as the SFSS, I've tried to make events low barrier, drop in, and beginner friendly, so super accessible and open to all students. So I worked on accessibility for fall kickoff. So I tried to make fall kickoff accessible for all students, not just people who, like going in mosh pits and stuff. With the knitting club, I posted workshops that kind of facilitate healthy stress reduction techniques, as well as help students make something that they're proud of and gain a new skill that can help them reduce stress in the future, which is knitting, because I find it's really relaxing. By making these events more accessible, I believe that more students would be encouraged to go to these events, which is basically my goal, more accessible events.
Okay, as far as I'm aware, the full kickoff, the previous one was a huge bust, and I believe there has to be something new that replaces that. And as far as I'm concerned for the knitting club, I don't see every single student out here, not every single student, but I don't see the majority of students trying to participate in the knitting club. It's just not a common thing for people to participate. I respect your involvement in that, but I just don't believe that's what the majority are trying to reach out for.
So my question is for Rachel. So how do you plan on ensuring events are accessible for all students? This not only includes students with disabilities, but also students who dislike large crowds and loud music, and students who have dietary restrictions. Thank you for the great question, Jennifer. So I understand right now a lot of my platform is based around hosting the inclusive campus-wide events, but there also is a large section regarding pub nights and nightclubs, which I know is not for everybody. So as you previously mentioned, there's lots of accessibility committees you can work with, health and counseling that I also hope to pair with. In regards to increasing the sponsorship, which is a large part of my thing, a large part of my platform as well. I hope to collaborate with different groups to ensure that those events are successful and collaborative and reach every student. Thank you.
Everyone has a few different plans.
All right, if anybody from the audience would like to ask questions, please come over to the side here.
Hey guys, nice speeches and all, but my questions for both of you are, will we have kickoff or like an alternative happening, and if so, where it would be, and if not, why?
Okay, thank you for the great question. So understanding that fall kickoff did run a huge deficit last year, I still believe that we do need a large fall event. This year we will not be pursuing kickoff because it is unfeasible for many reasons, being there's a lack of resources available, a lack of funding available, and simply just not enough time to hire an events committee, find a venue booking, hire artists, and pursue the whole event. In that case, or in this situation, because there is not enough time and fall kickoff is not feasible, I plan to look into alternative options, increasing the sponsorships that we have so we're able to partner. That just takes a lot of financial strain off of the student society's resources.
I'd like to start off by saying I actually disagree. I believe there is enough time to prepare an event, but I just don't see us putting too much emphasis on it for this next fall. And seeing as we lost so much money on the previous fall kickoff, I believe it is not needed, but it is definitely a plus for the students here in SFU. So if possible, we will attempt to make one, just not putting so much money into it.
Okay, thanks for the great question. Like, we all knew that was coming, so I did prepare a response. So if I did fall kickoff again, I would actually increase transparency. I'd involve more student consultation. I'd plan earlier, of course, like as soon as we know who's going to be voted in, I would start planning. I've actually planned for events, like formal events in like a month. So you can trust me to like pull everything together. I'm a procrastinator, I can work fast. However, I do believe that the money could go towards more sustainable local events, and I want to advocate for increased SFSS bursary contributions, which I think that's where the money would go to. It would be better to go there, as well as other special events throughout this school year instead of just one big event in the fall. Like, of course, we could do one. Like, I would love for there to be a local welcome event, but I feel like spreading out smaller events over the course of the school year is better because it's more accessible for students who don't go to concerts.
All right, thank you. We'll now be starting the closing statements.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out today, and I hope my platform resonates with some of your values. Again, to qualify for my experience, to discuss a little bit about it, I worked at SFSS for over 1 year, meaning I understand all operational procedures. I've also worked with events with over $40,000 worth of funding, so I believe I am the most qualified candidate for this position. You can have me on the board for both hype and health events, and vote in your event shoddy. Thank you.
For my closing statement, I'd like to say what I already mentioned. I'm all about building a better SFU community, making the students' social lives better. And one of my main priorities I'm proud to announce are going to be to paint the school and to get all the clubs around the school more involved, socialize more, build more connections with other students around the school. And I believe that's all. Thank you very much.
So I know I talked a lot about events at this debate, but I love hosting cool events. But the main role of the VP Student Life, as written in the SFSS bylaws, is to oversee and be the liaison for student groups. Student groups deserve someone who will listen to their concerns and work to address them. I believe that my dedication to transparency, along with my cross-faculty and inter-campus experience, make me the best candidate for the job.
Running to be your next VP Student Life. Thank you to every single one of you here today. I know I'm currently talking to the student at SFU because you are engaged enough within our community to participate in today's debate. It is not you that makes SFU known as a commuter school, it is everyone else, and it is these individuals' concerns that need to be acknowledged. My goal is to ensure that every student who walks across the stage at convocation comes out with more than just a paper in their hand, but instead memories that make them smile. How will I do this? By fostering bonds through the encouragement of participation in extracurriculars and events. With an intent to explore a marketing career with my communications major and 4 years of experience in event planning and digital marketing, I have the skill set to make your student life experience full of amazing memories that you'll be able to take with you no matter where life takes you after your time here at SFU is finished. I apologize for not physically being here today, but I was feeling sick and did not want to spread it. If you have any detailed questions about what I need to do, please reach out to me.
Okay, now we will be asking the VP Student Services candidates to make their please. And once again, if you have any questions for these candidates, please come to the side and we will do that at the end.
Hello, my name is, can you guys hear me? Okay. Hello, my name is Prince Chima, and I'm running to be your VP Student Services. In my 4 years at SFU, I've been extremely involved and an active member of the SFU community, involving the clubs, groups, and also being a student athlete. I have the experience and the willpower to be your student services. Thank you for coming out.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah! Okay, Nidaniko, Matthew Provost, hello, my name is Matthew Provost and I'm running for VP Student Services. I've been involved with the First Nation Student Association for 3 years and various other groups and DSUs. I truly believe that services need to be built on equity, diversity, and inclusion. As an Indigenous student, I've seen how the approach of one-size-fits-all has been utilized within many services, and I want to work towards rebuilding relationships with students to properly support how we center our services, and that students should be our first priority.
Thank you. So my question, the main role of VP Student Services is to negotiate the health and dental plan. Students pay between $189 and $232 for the health and dental plan, totaling annually over $5 million, making this the most expensive and used plan on campus. As VP Student Services, it will be your job to negotiate the new contract ending on August 31st, 2021. Matt, the question for you I have is, what is your ideal insurance model, and will you renew the current contract or do a request for proposal?
Well, I feel like a key point to my platform is talking and ensuring that students know about the services, especially with the health and dental plan, and ensuring how it's benefiting them. First of all, I am on the current model, and I feel like, reimbursements are a big thing that students deal with. They always have to pay back, or they have to pay in advance and wait for that. And sometimes that's a little bit precarious due to our, life as full-time students working and paying out of pocket. So definitely, based on what benefits students the most, I will look into seeing what will work better, if we need to renegotiate that model or if we need to find something new. Thank you.
Thank you for not answering the question at all. Right now we're on refund accounting. Refund accounting is the best model, but I am against renewing the current model as we must do a request for proposal, as hitting the open market with a 30,000 student campus will allow us to get the best possible deal for the student at a lower rate. I'm not willing to pay more if we have the student to get better services at a lower cost for the students. Thank you.
So, a a big part of your platform is building relationships with student groups. So can you tell me what advocacy work you have done for groups, clubs, and DSUs, and how will you work with creating more community engagement since this is a part of your platform?
Thank you for taking a look at my platform, Matt. I have been heavily involved in the student unions and groups at campus, as I was president of the Chemistry Student Society, as a member of the Molecular Biology and Biochemistry Student Society, I've been part of the Punjabi Student Association, one of the biggest ethnic groups on campus, and I've held great roles in those. I will keep advocating as I have requested grants. I know the processes involved in the SFSS and the groups, and I'll continue making the process easier as there are lack of communication directly between the SFSS and the groups on campus.
Thank you for your answer, Prince. I feel like it's just more important to look at the diversity of the groups on campus, and it's good to hear that you've been involved with a lot of groups. Being a part of the First Nations Student Association and working with other marginalized groups that need advocating on behalf of, I feel like it's a good approach that we take into account the various needs of our student body since they are diverse, even looking at international students and how like the services right now aren't equitable for them. And also if we look at Indigenous advocacy, that's been a big part of my work here at SFU, and I feel like advocating for Indigenous students and looking into that, I feel like I'd be a great candidate to ensure that, you know, your voices are heard. I'm really involved with talking to students, and I feel like, you know, as this position holds, it would be my first contact to, you know, hear what you guys need from me. Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
Okay, in relation to the position you're running for, how and why do you push for advocacy?
So I feel like pushing for advocacy, especially in the student services role, is pretty crucial. A lot of our services affect, you know, the majority of our undergraduates here, and, you know, we need to understand, like, you know, transparency is key, but in relation to transparency, we need to look at, you know, what's going on with our students. And I feel like, you know, going on the ground and building that relationship and seeing what students need and what's missing from services, you know, like that's what I've heard a lot, even just talking to students in the past week, finding out like what services aren't working, what's being utilized, what's not being accessible. And I feel like that's a big part in advocacy and looking at the gaps, people who are falling in between those gaps as undergraduate students, and how we need to make those better for everyone.
So a big part of my platform and something I'd like to push forward is actually met with the previous VP student services, the past three, and a big thing I want to push is EDI, equity, diversity, and inclusion of all members, and this is directly aligned with the accessibility committee at SFU, and I want to learn more. I want to see what can be done to allow students to make the whole campus more accessible for everyone and make this a more engaging environment for everyone. As we, myself, my opponent, we're running these student representatives, and all we can do is learn and improve the campus to make it better for everyone here.
Thank you. Hi, I have a question about what's your understanding of accessibility, what barriers to accessibility will you remove while on this position?
I feel like we need to look at this through an intersectionalist approach. As an Indigenous student, I realize that there's a lot of accessibility needs that need to be met through our services, and I feel like financial options are a big part of that. And even looking at accessible options around campus, and, you know, realizing that marginalized groups and people who aren't being heard at this school, that's a big accessibility need, because I think as of right now, there's only a portion of students who are running for these positions. And as an Indigenous student, I want to make sure that the relationships that I've built within the Rotunda groups and other, you know, a lot of awareness things that I've done on campus, you know, I bring that to this position and make sure that, you know, I do with the best intentions that I bring forward as a student, as an advocate, you know, and just looking forward to, you know, supporting students and knowing what needs to be done from that. So thank you for your question, Anastasia.
Hi, thanks for your question. I'd like to bring up accessibility again. As a minority myself, I realize there are barriers that we have to overcome as students at this campus. In my opinion, it starts from the top up, so the transparency between the board and the students, and the board's decisions that they make for the group. So I'm a big advocate for live streaming the board meetings, having more easily accessible minutes, using plain language, and inclusive documents to allow students to realize what's happening, what the board is doing on their behalf, as then again, the board makes the decisions for the students, but the students are the board. So it can hold hand in hand, and this directly aligns with EDI and accessibility.
Thank you.
My question is, what are you going to do for students who want to opt out of the health and dental plan?
So currently, if you want to opt out of the health and dental plan, you have to have your own coverage, and it's only available done in September. Unfortunately, when I first started my time at SFU, I wasn't aware of this, and you can't opt out during the January semester, the second term. I want to fix this. SFU students, the calendar that we have isn't linear. It should be flexible. We should be able to opt out of the health and dental plan and find coverage that best suits us. There's a lot covered under the health and dental plan, and not all of it's used, unfortunately. So if students have the option to choose the services that they need and pay the premiums that best suit them, that'd be a lot better than having a flat standard fee that applies to everyone. As that we did mention before, this is a diverse campus, and we need a diverse health and dental plan to support those students.
So I've had a couple of issues with the health and dental plan. Honestly, as an Indigenous student, I couldn't actually apply for the health and dental plan, and this is only my first semester being on it because my band funding didn't allow me to apply for it because it wouldn't be covered. So I understand that there's a lot of barriers, and like students, you know, I feel like it's not even a fact of like opting out at this point. I feel like it's if you can afford it. You know, because there's a lot of students who can't even afford the health and dental plan. So I think looking at options to also opt out, but also looking at different ways to look at, you know, who can actually access these services, even though they're already paying tuition, they're paying for housing, and there's a lot of things that are going into, you know, our education here. So I feel like looking at those services, that's a really good point on how to make those things more accessible for all students here.
Thank you. We'll now proceed with the closing statements, please.
Alright, I'm just really happy to see everyone coming out and supporting all the candidates running this year. I was going to read off of this, but I just feel like it's too late. So I'm just going to, you know, speak from what I know. So my name is Matthew Provost. Thank you again for coming out. I really appreciate to see all the engagement, and I've been really happy to talk to the students this past week. You know, as an Indigenous student, I kind of stick to my community, but I really want to broaden that and get to know all the undergraduates, and especially running for this position, I feel like representation is a really big part of that, and I really want to represent my community and also the undergrads in a really good way and do work that is meaningful and do great advocacy work and get to know all the students and to see what we need. So thank you, and remember to vote next week, and have a good weekend. Thanks for coming out. It's cold out here. So thank you for that.
Once again, thank you everyone for coming. As you know, I ran last year, and in the past year, I've learned a lot. Thank you to Simmer and Dowell for actually helping me with my platform. I'd like to thank you a lot. She also ran last year. Then again, I have the experience to take to be your next VP Student Services. Right here in my hand, I hold the current health and dental plan, which is expiring within this term. I've read every page of it. I know what needs to be done. I've already taken steps to give the students the best health and dental plan that they deserve. Once again, thank you everyone for coming, and I hope you vote Prince Chima to be your next VP Student Services. Thank you.
Next we'll be inviting VP University Relations. Relations position, who is unable to attend, has left us
tonight's debate. I wish my fellow candidates good luck in today's debate and for the rest of the election period. If anyone has any questions regarding my platform, please don't hesitate to direct message me or email me at jhusick@sfu.ca. Thank you. And now on to the introductions.
Hi everyone. Can everyone hear me? My name is Dave and I'm running to be your next VP University Relations. I'm running because we deserve a board that is passionate about empowering students and amplifying their voices on the issues that affect us all. We need board members who will take bold action to protect our rights and put more resources back in the hands of students. I've been an active member of the SFU community since day one, and through this involvement, I've had unique insights on the inner workings of this organization, and I've seen firsthand how important it is to elect students who will take bold action to stand up for students' rights. I will work my hardest to accurately represent the interests of students and create real change.
Thank you for being here. My name is Rubab Singh and I'm running to be your next VP University Relations. I'm running to ensure that no student is left behind unsupported. And just giving you a background about the position. Basically, the VP University Relations works between the board and the society. And to ensure a positive relation, it requires the patients to actually work and understand both the workings of SFU as well as SFSS. Given my experience with SFU Residence Life, SFU Library, SFU Recreation, I feel like I have a good understanding of how the procedures are at the university. As well as being a club president, I also understand some of the flaws that our current bylaws for SFSS have. Thank you.
Questions, please.
So Rubab, I noticed that you talked a lot about freezing tuition in your platform and even co-opted some of the language used by Tuition Freeze Now, such as student groups over profit. What has your involvement been with Tuition Freeze Now, the campaign of Tuition Freeze Now up until this point?
Being a student of the university, I've closely followed the tuition freeze movement online. And what I've noticed is that it's a very complicated topic for sure. We do need to explore more on it, but what my sense of understanding is that right now the movement is gaining momentum, but at the same time they're not being provided with the right resources. So that's something that we need to do. That's something that we need to. We also need to build understanding of the common students of what tuition freeze really is, and also need to make sure that there's enough caps for international students as well.
Thank you. And through mentorship with current board members and the current SFSS president, who's been an active member of Tuition Freeze Now, I've learned what their goals and initiatives are. And I'm not here to take credit for the work of other students. And when I ran for Senate, I was lucky enough to receive an endorsement from Tuition Freeze Now. And as per my platform, I really want to amplify student voices and especially student groups, which includes Tuition Freeze Now. So I want to work alongside them in ensuring that they have the resources to, continue operating successfully and hopefully successfully freeze tuition.
Okay, so in your platform, I noticed you've mentioned the words equity, diversity, and inclusion. It's very important, just as candidates, for us to raise awareness about it as well. I'm working closely with the Office of the Vice Provost currently to actually address those issues for clubs and other student groups. What do these three words actually mean to you, and how do you plan to work towards it?
Thank you for the question. And I think all the work that I've done up until this point, through my active community involvement at SFU, has been centered around equity, diversity, and inclusion. A big thing that I've advocated for as chair of council was trying to get the Rotunda group space in the sub. And through the referendum question that I successfully passed through council, that was successfully able to pressure the board to actually give those Rotunda groups space in the sub. And as a board member, I, will use those premises, looking through the lens of those premises in all the work that I've done.
to all the students because we've successfully been able to host the Rotunda groups in the South. As for the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Initiative, I think it is definitely gaining momentum, but it's very important to develop the understanding because it's actually a real goal for SFU to make to move it forward. One thing that I want to do is that give staff training to the SFSS board members as well as the other faculty at SFU to actually look at things through that lens, and also have a centralized place, whether online or in person, where people can actually reach out and raise their concerns.
Of a sorority on campus, and SFU has failed to recognize any of our recognized organizations, and there are over 6 of us right now, and we've been here for a while. And we contribute a lot to the community, we do volunteer work, but so far SFU has refused to recognize us. What can we do about that? Are you going to do anything about that? And that's what we'll do.
So yeah, I definitely agree. And this is a big issue that I've been hearing a lot about, and I think there's a lot of misunderstanding around that whole issue. And I definitely think that SFSS, as an advocacy organization, does have the power to, sorry, I'm so on words. Does have the power to advocate to the university, to try and recognize those groups, because they do contribute a lot to the community, and I definitely think those are conversations that need to be had.
Thank you for the question. Throughout my 4 years at SFU, I've actually been closely working with all the Greek Life members, not just the sororities, but also the frats. One thing that I do want to recognize is that, unfortunately, even though SFU does not recognize Greek Life as an entity, it's very important to know the good work that they're doing. So despite the fact that they're not acknowledged at SFU doesn't mean that they're not putting in the volunteer work in the name of SFU, right? So that should be the main priority. Even if we can't get the groups exactly recognized, the first priority should be to get their good work recognized. As we all know, SFU has a co-curricular record, so my efforts would be to at least get your work recognized in that, to move forward. Yeah.
So you said that you are a part of the SFSS council. As a student, all I know about SFSS is that it has lost a lot of money and they keep blaming each other in the team. In the council, your job is to give recommendations, but it seems like they haven't taken your recommendations too seriously. What makes you think that they will take your recommendations seriously now when you are as a board member?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. So yes, council in the bylaws is a body that serves to make recommendations to the board. And I'm not sure I agree with your premise of they took it too seriously. I mean, council is there to make recommendations to the board, and through the referendum that I successfully passed through council, to house the Rotunda groups, that happened because a majority of the student body felt that the board was not acting in the student body's interest. And through the power that council has in the bylaws, we were able to stand up as students and say, hey, we don't agree with this decision, that's why we're doing this. And the board listened. And I think that says a lot about the power in student voices and what happens when students stand up and fight back. So, and I think that with council, there needs to be more power given to them in terms of accountability of the board. And, if I were to make a decision that, as a board member, that, the rest of the student body doesn't agree with, council should have the power to say so.
So basically, I heard that your concerns about board losing a lot of money and then the blame game that's going on. Obviously, the board, it's very hard to have the same opinion for everyone. And at any workplace, there's disagreements that arise, and that can lead to difficult situations as well. regardless of what the ex-board has done, our effort should be that the new board, despite the difference of opinions, they should work together and maybe like reach like options that can be viable for everyone. So that's one thing. As for the SFSS Council, they definitely need to be empowered even more than they are right now. And we need to strengthen the bylaws so that their recommendations are actually taken seriously.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Yeah. So since you both talk a lot about how you can increase affordability on campus, what do you know about open education, and what can you do to increase it?
So, open educational resources is a huge part of my platform, and that centers all around trying to get free and open textbooks for all. So that includes making, encouraging professors to make their own course materials that are free to students, because textbooks can cost up to a couple $100s each, and the more money we can save students, the better. Things like encouraging profs not to use online access codes for expensive online access codes for things like Pearson online textbooks, and encouraging profs not to use things like iClickers, which are very expensive and once you're done using them, have really no use. The University of Alberta, through their student union, was actually able to advocate, was able to convince the university to discontinue iClickers. So that's something that I think needs a serious conversation that needs to happen here, and the current VP University Relations has been a huge advocate of OER, and I think that through the existing working group that exists, I really want to continue that work and make sure that it becomes a reality.
Just to give a background to regular students about what open education resources actually mean, because I'm pretty sure you've been seeing these words on the posters and everything. It basically is free learning and research material that professors can use and students can use. It's basically on like a public database, and it's beneficial for the students because it actually is a solution to affordability, which is textbook resources online for students to use them. As for the faculty, it's also beneficial because it allows them to actually use other material that's available on the open database and actually incorporate that in their current teaching. So it's beneficial for both. As for the iClicker, I think there have been some conversations about it, and for university relations, it's also very important to understand the other side, which is the university. So it's very hard to make decisions just based on what our recommendations are. The main thing is to find out different options. One thing that I want to address is that currently, I think only $5,000 are granted from the library and the XML, like the education committee. Maybe we can talk a bit more about like those fundings and how those can be increased and what exactly the students want. One way of getting student input is to actually incorporate the textbook affordability question on the post evaluation itself. So being an economics student, I know like how hard it is to like buy multiple textbooks at a time, because for each course of mine I have to buy at least like 3 to 4 textbooks, and that can cost a lot. So that's a topic that actually resonates with me, and I definitely want to make it a top priority if I am elected.
Hi. So over the last year, we've been working on student affordability and have a good relationship with the Graduate Student Society, and we're pleased to announce soon we'll have a student affordability plan come on board regarding the university looking into a long-term strategic plan for affordability for our students on campus. How important do you think a close relationship with the GSS is, and what work have you done to rekindle those relationships that used to have been broken that we have rekindled?
I definitely think that a strong working relationship with the GSS is incredibly important, and it is my understanding that there is something called the Joint Operations Group, which is a group that is made up of SFSS representatives, GSS representatives, and representatives from the university. So through that working group, I will take bold action to advocate for students' issues through that channel.
So first of all, I want to congratulate the ex-VP University Relations China, who actually started this joint operations group between SFSS and DSS. My last conversation with her, she actually educated me about it. The need is for having more frequent meetings with them so that we can actually take it further. It has already been started, but now we need to take it further. Talking about affordability, I think we should not forget housing affordability as well. We're all talking about textbook affordability and academics. But housing affordability is also a big issue right now, and I think we need to, it's very easy for me to say that if I'm elected, I can do this, but even if I'm elected, I'm only going to be in the board for 1 year. The need is to build long-term resources where students can reach out to and seek help themselves.
We'll now proceed with the closing statements, please.
Thank you everyone for coming out. And I think this year we have a lot at stake in this election, and we have some important questions on the ballot. Are we going to continue with more of the same, or are we together as students going to stand up and ask, how long must we wait for real change? When the SFSS receives around $12 million a year in student fees, it is critical that we are electing board members who work consistently and passionately to put these resources back in the hands of students in the form of strong advocacy. I hope I can count on your support, and I'm excited to begin the work of VPUR.
First of all, a huge shout out to the audience. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being the engaged students of SFU and taking a stake in every decision that there is. What I want to say is that any conversation with the university basically starts with the trust in the student society itself, and we need someone who has the patience to understand and work with both the groups. Thank you.
Alright, thank you, candidates. That's the end of our executive positions. Now we're going to have a short presentation on the referendum questions.
Hi everybody. As you may know, there are two referendum questions that are going to be on this year's election ballot, and I'm the board liaison on these referendum questions, and we want to provide an opportunity for students to know or ask questions about it. I'll be inviting two folks, first SFR and Ruth, to come and speak more about it. I'll just read out the referendum questions as is. I think it's really cool right now. So basically, WUSC, World University Services Canada, is a student-led group to support education for refugee youth whose goals are to increase awareness about forced migration and the impact of education on the lives of those affected among youth refugee students, and supports resettling the refugee students that SFU sponsor through a partnership with WUSC. Currently, WUSC has students contributing $2.50 per semester, except undergraduate students taking 3 credits or yes, who contribute $1.25 per semester. WUSC needs an additional revenue to be sustained, and would love for SFU students to consider the question, are you in favor of increasing the student levy for SFU WUSC to $5 per semester for students, except students taking 3 credits or fewer who contribute $2.50 per semester. And I'll give the opportunity for anybody from WUSC, or if anybody from the crowd has any questions to ask about the WUSC question. Does anybody have any question? Okay, cool. So, essentially, the board has taken the position to put forward a referendum question for students to have ability to vote on it democratically. There is WUSC representative can raise and also show their presence. There's another referendum question on the table. SFPER fee increase question. SFPER is an independent student society at SFU that engages students in social and environmental justice through education, action, research, and community building. Established in 1981, SFPER provides a wide range of programming, resourcing services, and volunteer employment opportunities to students. SFU students contribute $3 per semester, and $1.50 per semester for part-time for students taking 3 credits or less. This member fee was last set by referendum in 1994, and then the inflation rate in BC from 1994 to 2019 was 45.02%, meaning that something that cost $3 in 1994 would cost $4.35 now. The question is, be resolved to increase the student levy for SFPER to $5.50 per semester for students except those taking 3 courses or 3 credits or less, who contribute $2.75 per semester adjusted annually for inflation according to the Vancouver Consumer Price Index. We have a representative from SFPER, and if there is any questions, I will hand over to the representative from SFPER to give more of a background. And I believe they have us. Okay.
Hello, I'm Anna. I'm representing the 7th Fraser Public Interest Research Group. So the 7th Fraser Public Interest Research Group is an independent, nonprofit student society based at SFU dedicated to engaging students in social good and justice. SFPER was established in 1981 through student referendum and has been an active and vital part of the community for nearly 40 years. All SFU students contribute a semester member fee to SFPER. The last referendum establishing a SFPER member fee took place in spring 1994, setting the semester member fee at $3 per full-time student and $1.50 per part-time student. In order to adjust for past losses due to inflation and in order to expand the number of areas in SFPER programming and resources, we're putting forward a referendum question to all SFU students that would increase the SFPER member fee. We're also asking SFU students to approve annually adjusting the fee for inflation according to the Vancouver Consumer Price Index, so that future losses due to inflation are accounted for. For more information about the SFPER that work with you, as well as more information about the referendum question, including breakdown of proposed increase, please visit sfpER.ca. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for listening. If there is any questions, Anna is here and a representative from Bruce is here as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Now we will be inviting candidates for president. This is the last position that we attend. And same procedure, if you have any questions from the audience, right over here. You got it.
Hello everyone, my name is Rasa, and I am running to be the next president of the Simon Fraser Student Society. I saw firsthand how students who lead with progressive values can really shift the narrative and create a society that provides proper services, events, and advocacy for their membership. I want to work on lobbying the university to invest in open educational resources, work alongside the tuition-free movement, and reforming our governance practices for more accountability of the board. We do not have to settle for mediocrity any longer. Now is the time for a student movement, and I want us to move together forward to create a society that works for us.
Hi everybody. So my name is Miguel Rosandis. I'm running to be your president for the SFSS. So I'm so honored to be, participating in this competition with people like yourself, which honestly, excellent students, excellent people in the community. And I'm also really proud that even in this cold weather, everybody's here cheering and listening to us. Can you hear me? Okay, I guess you can. My proposals are having student safety on campus, having also accessible education, and effective leadership in the board. And that's it. Feel free to ask me any questions, please.
All right, I guess my question is for you. So I really do admire your determination to run for president, and I actually had a bit of a hard time coming up with a question for you, considering that your platform wasn't actually up on the website until today afternoon. even though campaigning period started over a week ago. So I really want to ask you, considering that we had a conversation about a week or a couple days before campaigning period started, and you told me that one of your main initiatives was that you wanted to create more opportunities for graduate students. So my question to you is, how are you going to do that? And more importantly, why? Graduate students are not our members.
Yeah, well, thank you for the question. This is awesome. I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable sitting down. I think what I meant was giving more opportunities for people to transfer into a higher education, which is the graduate program, right? So as undergrads here, we're all here developing our skills, and some of us are seeking to further develop our skills into the master's degree, to enter into a master's degree, right? And obviously get better education. I did not upload my platform until today because I like to be well informed and I like to be I like to understand what I'm talking about, right? So I prefer to talk a bit later than sooner, just for the sake of it. I know that you are very well prepared, and I know that you have had a lot of really good help from a lot of awesome people in campus, right? Unfortunately, I did not come with the same resources, but hey, I can always learn from the people here, right? Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that clarification, Miguel. Again, I really appreciate your determination to run. I am a little bit disappointed because both your platform and your answer now did not have any real action items and things that you concretely want to do to better the membership here at SFSS. So I'm a little bit worried because we want to be proactive rather than reactive. We want to make sure that we're taking the initiative to be prepared when things like this come up. And the SFSS, it's not a game, it's serious business. So I'm hoping that if you are elected to president, that you can really be more proactive. And I really hope that this worrying lateness does not translate into your efforts as the president.
So I've been awfully proactive. So since, let's say, July 2019, I encountered the devastation in the Amazon jungle. I was in Germany at the time. I was doing my international co-op, meaning I actually take things seriously. And during that time, I was like thinking, man, like I know one place that can do something about this. ALAS, Association of Latin American Students on Campus, on SFU. That's the only representation we have, the Latino people that actually does things, right? So I messaged them, and then I suggested a project, right? The project was the gala, the Winter Lights Gala. I understood that this project couldn't be taken only for one club. Our club was too small to do this, right? To raise this money. So then we partnered up with 3 other clubs, and we came up with solutions. Right now, my actionable items are for student safety. I have encountered a lot of people actually falling during the winter because it is too icy, the floor is very icy. One thing we can do is, talk to campus security to actually improve and at least put like signs that this place is dangerous, right? People need to be aware. Like people usually go up on campus and then they don't realize that these places can be dangerous, such as stairs. There are water leaks around that can actually harm people. Other thing that we can do is have a proper safety procedure for people that have some emergencies on campus. Like for example, the guy that had a heart attack during an archaeology exam, and there was no timely response. We should have timely response here, right? We're 25,000 plus people in SFU. We should have a proper procedure to take care of emergencies such like that. Yeah?
Thank you again, Miguel. I really respect that you are very well versed on the issues that are going on at SFU, but again, I would love to hear some action items about how you plan to encounter them.
Thank you. We will move on to the question.
Perfect, thank you very much. So in my platform, I mentioned leadership, right? Let's be efficient in leadership. So my question is, in our conversation, we agreed that currently there was a very clear division between the board members in this board, which led to very inefficient decision making. How will you address that?
Thank you so much for your question, Miguel. And I was in a very unique position this year as the health sciences representative for the board, and I was was able to really work alongside many people on the board, but particularly I found a real allyship within the progressive caucus of the board of directors. That included great people like Giovanni, our president, Shaina, our VP University, and Jennifer Joe, our FAST rep as of right now. And to be honest, there is an inherently political nature in the board. We are here to make decisions. We're a nonprofit, but we have elections. Of course, people are going to come in with different ideas, different ideals, and I really think that even though we have different maybe ideas on how to go about things, the board needs a president who is going to make sure that people understand their responsibilities. We're not here to be sitting ducks and to be sitting on top of $2.4 million unrestricted surplus. When we need to be spending this money on services and events and advocacy. And I really want to be the president of a board who recognizes that. And seeing the candidates today, I'm confident that that will happen.
Thank you. So how open are you to listen to a diverse set of values and a diverse set of opinions? So my understanding right now, based on talking to a bunch of board members, is that a lot of these inefficiencies come from a different set of values. So would you respect the difference in values from different board members? Because it's obvious that not everybody will have the same values as you, right?
Absolutely, and I totally recognize it. And I will respect other people's values. But if their values are based in racism, homophobia, anti-Indigenous sentiments, and other horrible things that I can't stand for, I will not stand by it. That's where I draw the line. Other than that, I'm willing to work with anybody and everybody.
Last rebuttal if you'd like.
Awesome. Well, I do actually not believe. I do not believe that I have seen a lot of racist board members at the moment, right? I see that definitely different approaches to different things, which I must say I do not agree with a lot of their approaches. But my experience with the leadership is the leaders usually eat last. Leaders listen to the end. Leaders should really listen to all the board members first, and then help guide the decision making. I do not believe that actually as a president, my agenda matters much, because my real job is here to put things forward, to listen, and actually guide the board members in a coherent manner to reach a resolution, right? So for clarification, I do believe that the rotunda places, they need the space. I do believe that this is something that's completely needed, and I actually don't understand why this wasn't done before. So thank you so much to you, thank you so much to Giovanni, thank you so much to everybody that advocated for them, and please don't forget to answer the referendum question for the WUSC, which is very important. And yeah, thank you so much for participating, and thank you for your respect.
We'll now open up for audience questions.
Yeah, my question is for Asa. So I just want to first start by highlighting the guiding principles of SFSS, which can be found in the webpage, especially the accountability one. Since I want to say that on the 2020 election regulations, it clearly states that on point 5, slates, part A, part 2, it's an appearing in other candidates' material is completely prohibited, which there's a very Facebook video circulating where there's a bunch of candidates that are appearing in that sense. Point B states that candidates must campaign individually, so there must be no political association between them. I know that endorsement is allowed, but candidates must host campaigns activity individually, and I do believe that all of these rules have been violated by many of the representatives, not from many of the groups that are the candidates that are basically running for now. So my question is, how come you, as a candidate, you're asking me as a student, you're going to represent me, to vote for you, since you're already breaking the rules that are already established before you were taking office? So how can you talk to me and tell me that vote for me, since you're already breaking some of the rules that are already pre-posed, that are stated there, and that already exist, and everybody can have access to them? Also, if you do believe in the principle of accountability, do you believe that if you've broken the rules, should you be held accountable for these actions? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. What was your name again? Lester, thank you so much for your question. And I would like to just make a clarifying point before I start. I did not break any rules.
My campaign video was approved by the IEC. That approval was revoked, and that's well within the IEC's right, and when the approval was revoked, I removed the video. Again, I have not campaigned with, all of my campaign material has been approved by the IEC. So if your question is more about the judgment of the IEC, I would really respectfully ask that you refer your question to the IEC instead. Thank you very much.
Okay, correct. Then going on to the next point. Yes, accountability. So even if the video is taken down, there's already a bunch of benefits from the exposure of this IAC approved that shouldn't have been approved in the first place, because the regulation clearly states that no political campaigning that hosts multiple individuals should be allowed. Even if the video is taken down, damage is already done because the exposure benefited this group of individuals. So going back to the SFSS guiding principle of accountability, do you believe that they should be accountable for something that IAC already approved, mistakenly, fully aware that this was a rule that was posted in the guidelines? Thank you.
And that Lester, thank you again for your follow-up question. I 100% believe that candidates who break the rules should be held accountable. Again, I did not break any rules. My video was approved by the IEC, and then the approval was revoked, and I followed the rules as removing my video. If you want to check my social media channels, they are no longer posted on there. Again, I would respectfully like to ask that you refer further questions about rules to the IEC, because I have not broken any of them. Thank you very much.
My question goes to both of you. If elected president, would there be anything or any actions that the current president has done that you would change, and why?
I'm sure, as you know, Giovanni is a good friend of mine, but in that case, I've been able to see some of the initiatives I've taken on. And one thing that I think that I would do that he maybe has not done is that I want the board members to understand their roles as board members. Right now, I don't think that's happening. We have a governance committee that is not meeting on a regular basis, in which some of the members have insisted that they don't want to politicize the environment of the board, as if we're the puppy, non-for-profit, where we're all here to have the same, we want to care for puppies or something like that. That's not what it is. This is a student union. We need to revive the spirit of a union. Unions were created to protect us, and that's just not happening. So something that I would specifically do is make sure that through board orientation happening in the first few weeks of the board term, that students understand board solidarity, not a real thing. Students should be able to answer for the things that they do. And I want to revive the governance committee, which currently is chaired by our VP Student Services, Christina, to have those meetings more regularly, so that we are going to be actually creating policies and reviving policies, and through our very thorough bylaw reform, make sure that we're having a union that works for us properly. I really do want to take some of the great things that our incumbents have done, including the president, but I think that's something that we have not done properly.
Hear me? Yeah. So, look, tons of respect for Giovanni, honestly. He has done and achieved a lot so far. The only thing I would do a bit differently, I think, is as a president, you're the head of the SFSS, right? I do believe that, for example, it's not his whole responsibility that the fall kickoff did not turn out well. As a president, I would have tried to prevent this by asking for cost forecast, profits forecast, and sales forecast. That's the only thing I would do different, apart from actually listening and trying to make the board a more cohesive place. Honestly, the last time I went to the board, I felt a very negative energy, and I think in our conversation you agreed with me, right? So that's the two things that I will do differently. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this question goes out to both of you. The position of president is probably a huge task to take on. So I'm wondering, what would make you more qualified than the other candidate running for this position?
All right, thank you for your question. What's your name? What's your name? John. All right. So we understand that I believe you also understand, but I understand that the president position is a huge deal, right? It really is not to be taken lightly. So I honestly, I would not confidently say that I'm the best here to take this on this mantle, right? That would be arrogant. I'm actually a person that tries to listen to everybody before I even take decisions. I think that makes me really capable of taking on this mantle. Being able to listen, being able to try to organize a team, being able to respect everybody's values, understanding that diversity is highly important. I come from a country where actually diversity, I mean, I'm Mexican, by the way. We think we're diverse, right? We're Latino, we come from everywhere, but it's actually a very monotonous way of thinking. And that really scared me. That's why I moved to Canada, because I believe in diversity and globalism and all that, right? So, to me, the skills that will allow me to be a great president, I'm not saying that I'll be the best ever, I'll be a great president, is good leadership skills. My team can attest to that. Willingness to learn and willingness to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for your question. So this year, for the 2019-2020 year, I've served as the Faculty of Health Sciences rep on the board, and I have taken my role very seriously. And some of the different initiatives that I've worked on this year is working with the Student Experience Initiative and some other great board members on the Free Menstrual Products Initiative. You're going to be seeing some of those very, very soon. I've also been working on the Open Educational Resources campaigns, and you're going to be seeing an Open Textbooks Now campaign launching very, very soon as well. Some other things that we've done is also work on improving the voting records of the board. So I was able to pass a motion to implement a ratio voting system. I would honestly prefer if we had all of our names associated with our votes. Unfortunately, it didn't pass at the board, so I was able to make a compromise, which I think does exemplify good leadership as well. So what makes me qualified for this position? I think it's the fact that when I say I'm going to do something, I will do it. And if you look at our work reports, because incumbent board members, I think, need to be held to a different standard, in all honesty, because you've been given the chance to show the students why you're the best person for the job. Look at my work reports. They're on the website. Another motion that I was able to have successfully passed at the board table. So please take a look at those, and I really hope that you guys will agree with me and my endeavor as president.
Hi, so my question is for both of you. One of the biggest issues that has plagued the SFSS for many years is division due to stuff like slates. It's been very evident this past year, and it's been evident the years before. And while obviously no candidate's breaking rules, it's evident that slates still exist to this day if you look around and notice all of the identical posters with identical color schemes. The most important job of the president is to bring the team together and create a cohesive unit. I want to ask you, how will you be impartial, both as the chair that has to control how the meetings go, both in a timely and fair manner? So how will you be impartial and make sure that your team stays together regardless of the fact that people have different values and different approaches to stuff?
Thank you, Kia, for your question. Much appreciated. So again, I don't think that the board members should be interfering in what the IEC determines as rules, because a lot of times we can get into quite sticky situations with that, and the IEC is meant to be independent and come up with their own regulations, and as candidates we have to follow by that. And then again, with your question as being the chair and being able to work with all the different people on the board, I don't think there's a single candidate right now who can say that I have a bad working relationship with them. I've met, I think, pretty much all of them. There's a lot of candidates here. I've met them all, and I think I've been able to develop good relationships with them, and I think that I will be able to take this spirit through the elections, through the results, through the rest of this campaigning period, because at the end of the day, if I win on my merit and my ability to be a good leader. Thank you.
Cool. So, I mean, you build up on what I was just saying, right? So division really leads to inefficient results, or like poor results. We have seen that with the kickoff, which again, I'm not here to put blame. I'm just saying this is a result that was poorly managed and it was widely covered by the media. But more than that, I mean, my club just got our bill out of nowhere of $1,000, right? So like these kind of issues, I mean, these kind of issues come from really uncohesive teams. And my idea, or like the way I usually help on a leadership role, is again by allowing people, following a format, following a structured format on a meeting, obviously, but also allowing everybody to speak and setting respect rules, right? We're not here to put your ideas here on the table and then just see who has more points to move forward. We're here to actually help everybody in this university, 25,000 plus students. Not everybody has the same values, not everybody agrees with you, but everybody wants this university to be better, to be a more engaging university. We engage our world, but we forgot to engage our community. How come is that like a reality in here right now? So my job as a president will be to listen to every VP because everybody has an expertise there. That's why they apply there, and understand the data that they present me, and then help the board make coherent decisions. Right? That makes sense to you? Okay?
So I discussed how the board chair is an important part of the role. I think Giovanni has done a great job, and I know this was part of the decision. But the policy was passed this last year where students can't talk at board meetings unless they submit something beforehand. Of course, this creates issues with any motions raised at the board table. I believe it's the board's chair's job to hold the meetings in a timely fashion. What will you do regarding this policy, and how will you ensure that meetings are able to be run timely, yet students still have the ability to talk and can show up at meetings and contribute to the conversation?
Thank you again, Tia, for the question. And when that initiative came up, I was not for it. I was completely against it because I had the same concerns as you. If the motion is already passed, what's the point of talking about it at the end of the meeting? So as the board chair, if I am elected, one of the first things I want to do is to implement a policy where students are able to speak at the board when the motion is still on the table. So we can find a way to time it in a way that makes sure that new business and important things still get done, but I really don't think that that's a good idea. And if I had the confidence of the board, I would put forward a motion to reverse it. I can bring that conversation up again during my board term right now, and if things work out, then hopefully we will be able to see students engaging in the democracy that they have the right to engage in once again.
All right. Well, this is a great question. I talked about listening and being able to make efficient decision making. I actually would like to, eventually talk to Giovanni about this policy that he made. I understand that these meetings are hugely time constrained. Time is a resource, and resources are usually constrained, right? Like we don't have 20 hours to get everybody's input into a huge issue like this. That's why you choose us, right? We represent the students. So if we were to listen to a lot of people, probably that would really take a lot of time and a lot of resources, and it would not be efficient at all. We would just not do nothing. I think that was the approach, and that was the understanding. I honestly have not talked about this with Mr. Giovanni, but I can empathize with such a policy. I don't know if I will revoke it or not. I will really need to do more research on that.
All right. I think since we are running quite a bit over time, if you want to continue with your closing statements for me.
Thank you everyone who took the time to come on this very cold afternoon to watch us debate and engage in the student democracy that is so important to our day-to-day lives. Over the course of the last few years, the SFSS has moved away from student-led governance and towards a society that delegates all tasks to management and is happy to settle for mediocre results. Now is the time to fight for an affordable education and space for our equity-seeking groups, better governance practices, and more to build back student power on campus. Yes. My name is Asad Mohammed. Vote for me for SFSS president. Long live student power!
Well, thank you so much for coming this really cold afternoon in this really cold location in campus. Hopefully the next debate won't come like that. But I hope you all were well informed on our policies, not only me and the other president candidate, but every VP that participated and every faculty rep that participated. I really appreciate your time. hopefully we can make this university a much more engaged place. All right? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you everybody for coming. That's going to conclude the debate for this year. Don't forget to vote March 17th, 18th, 19th. SFU Mail. Thank you.